This is DJ Johnny at JDMFM, and today I'm back continuing my history of Warrington, and I'm at the moment looking at the history of Latchford, and this is the fourth video in the series. Today I'm in this area here. You can see behind me the River Mersey is on the other side, Knutsford Road, Bridgefoot's over there. I've not got very far, and Latchford village is in that direction up there along Knutsford Road. That's where I am, and today I'm going to look at this patch of land behind me, wondering what it is. I'm also going to be looking at some of the early industry around the Bridgefoot area, and also St James's School. Let's go and have a look at it and see what we can find out. So I'm just at the end of Knutsford Road. Latchford village is up in that direction, and the cenotaph is literally over there behind me, Bridgefoot, where we are. This place behind me, it doesn't look very much now. It's a hire car place at the moment. But in 1787, this was Peel's cotton factory. Now, this was a huge factory at one time, a long time ago, of course. It's very famous though, because this was one of the very first cotton factories in the Warrington area, this sort of Lancashire area as was. And it had the first Bolton and Watt steam engine anywhere in this area, which is amazing. So where this place is now is very famous for that first Bolton and Watt steam engine. Amazing. So I'm back at the old St James's Church burial ground. Do you remember the St James's Church which was around here in 1777 when it was built? Well, this was the burial ground, and you remember that at St James's Church in 1779 there was the very first Sunday school ever in the whole country. Well, it grew. It was really popular, so popular that they had to build a whole new school to take on the Sunday school and also some of the day school, and they built it over the road, which is just over there. So the building behind me, which is now Abercar's, used to be the old St James's School. This school was built in 1814 and lasted until 1886, when they decided that wasn't big enough, so they built a whole new school not far away behind us, which I'll have a look at in a few minutes. In 1886, the building was taken over by the Emmanuel Free Church, and it was used as a parish area and for other parish activities. But sadly, in 1985, the building burned down and was destroyed by fire. Oh, what a shame. And now you can see they built something else on top of it. And this behind me is St James's School, which was built in 1886 and still continues to be St James's School of Latchford even today. It's been greatly modified since 1886 with lots of buildings, an extra playground area, so it's a much better place than it was when it was first built, but still going today, which is brilliant. And this is the old Golden Lion pub. An old pub which has not been a pub for quite a long time now, and it's been changed to a home improvement fireplace place. I think that's even disappearing now as well. The interesting thing is, although it's called the Golden Lion, they've kept the same frontage, and they even kept the Golden Lion, but sadly the lion has now disappeared. Oh, I believe it fell off one day. I think there's a story behind it, but we won't go into that. But nonetheless, the Golden Lion was here, and there is actually another lion at the other end up towards Latchford, which we're going to have a look at in a later video. Watch this space. So I'm just at York Street, and I'm actually just opposite that area there where it's all nice and green. And further along the road, further along Knutsford Road, there's lots of trees and the like. Now where the trees are, there used to be a huge building built in the 1830s. And this was a pin works. It was a factory where they made pins. It was a factory owned by John Edelston, and he set up this factory in the 1830s. In fact, in the late 1700s, he was still at Winnick Street in Warrington, near Pinner's Brow. Now, Pinner's Brow is famous for pins. Warrington was famous for making pins in the 1700s, and in fact, one of the biggest places for pins in the country at that time. But nonetheless, John Edelston's huge factory came here in the 1830s, and it was literally built there where those trees are. This factory was amazing. It was it held 1,000 people, 1,000 employees. That's men, women and children. Children sometimes as young as 5. Can you believe that? Young as 5. Children were used because when they were making pins, which is a very, very fine job as you can imagine, the dexterity that was needed and the very fine, nimble fingers were ideal. Children's fingers were ideal for making these pins. John Edelston's factory made between 15 and 16 million pins a year. They were hat pins for ladies' hat pins or ladies' straight pins, which they made in packages and sent them all over the country and beyond in those Victorian days. But the children and others who didn't make the right quota of pins a day were literally thrashed, which was terrible. Really bleak time. But this was just one of the factories that Warrington used to have in the Industrial Revolution. Blinking heck. So I'm just at the back of St James's School, which is just over there in the distance. This is the playground area here. And I'm on Lord Street. This is Lord Street along here. Now then, this is fascinating because in 1947, they made a new tunnel all the way underneath here. They dug all this road up, all the way through, going to Warrington Power Station, which was at Howley, which actually was just over there, and we're going to have a look at that in a few minutes. But this area here was amazing because on the other side of the embankment there was the railway junction, lots of railways and the like, and they had a structure called a tippler. What's a tippler? Well, it actually was an area where they could actually turn the coal wagons upside down and drop the coal, and the coal would go down into a chute down below and would come along a tunnel under here all the way through to the power station and then up and over, and we're going to have a look in a minute at where it used to go. But this is where it went. So it went from the tippler all the way down along a conveyor underneath where I am now, all the way through underneath this road, underneath Knutsford Road, and all the way through to Howley Power Station. And as far as I'm aware, the tunnels are still there if you dig deep enough. Whoa! And this is where the tunnels used to come out. It used to come out there from York Road, underneath Knutsford Road itself, to this position here, where this green area is. I wonder why they don't build on it. Well, I assume it's because there's a huge concrete shaft going down below here, which used to go across the Mersey on a massive concrete structure, a massive concrete bridge. We used to cross the Mersey, taking the coal from this side of the Mersey to the other, to the power station, which was just over there, but long since gone. And this is where the coal eventually came up from its route all the way from the sidings along Lord Street and underneath Knutsford Road. This is what it used to look like before it was all knocked down. It came up here on this side and then shooted across the bridge, which you can just see going over in the distance towards the power station. Amazing. So I'm just near McDonalds on the Riverside Retail Park. McDonalds is actually just behind this sign through there. So I'm on the Howley side of the river, the north side of the River Mersey. And if you can just see just behind me here is this structure here, this concrete structure. It's not very clear at the moment because of all the greenery around us, which is lovely in the summer, but you can't really see the details. This here is the foundation stones to the huge monolithic structure which used to go across the Mersey here, which was for the power station, which was also just behind me over there, the Howley Power Station. And this is where the conveyor belt used to come bringing the coal all the way underneath Knutsford Road and then up on this massive concrete bridge crossing the River Mersey and came down to here before continuing its way all the way to the power station. Now, I did come here when it was winter time, when there was no leaves on the trees, so you could have a look at what this used to be. So let's go and have a look at those pictures. So that's the end of this very short video on Latchford, where we looked at the Peel's cotton factory and that very first Bolton Watt steam engine, which was used to drive the wheels of industry round in those early 1700s. We had a look at St James's Sunday School and the purpose-built building they had, which became a day school, and then the new school that they built for St James and continues today. We also had a look at John Edelston's pin factory, which was just over there. Oh, jeepers. That horrible, massive factory where young children used to work all day long in those horrible Victorian conditions. And then we had a look at the Howley Power Station, which used to stand like a monster behind me now, all gone now. And of course, the tunnels, which used to come underneath the road, and I think are actually still there. We've covered an awful lot in a very short time in this video. Hope you'll forgive me for not covering everything. There's loads more history around this area, but I need now to move on further down the road to have a look at what else I can find. Well, meanwhile, this is DJ Johnny at JDMFM, and whatever you're doing, hope you have a fabulous time, and see you again very soon. Bye.